That's right.
Is that right, Zachary?
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, he's connected to the live stream world. So hello, everybody. Um, yeah, that's a really accessible way for people to see, and then the downloading is another step. We're trying to smooth out that process. It will get better and better over time. Um, I'm gonna just jump out into the lobby real quick to see if there is anybody that's out there that needs a hand. So we'll do that maybe for the next 5 minutes. So we can start at 1:10. So.
So as soon as you can come in, as soon as you come back in, we can get started, right? Okay.
Okay, sounds good. And which artwork should we congregate in front of?
Well, I think what we will do is we will start in front of the.
Okay, sounds good. Wow. Yeah, so we'll start here. All right, I will. Yeah, it's really cool. And then also Karen, she's done on the other wall there. She's done those public works. I've seen some of the videos that were shared in here and some of the images. I'm really excited to learn more about that.
Brent, what I've done is I've taken the videos off for now because I was concerned that they might interfere with our session.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah. Yeah. I'll be right back though. I'm gonna.
Okay, Brandon. Okay, see you in a bit. Okay, cool. Can you hear me? Yes. What is the weather like in Lisbon? Yeah. Did you
what is that, Justin?
Oh no, I was just asking. I love how these images are displayed so big. It's so such a.
Oh, that's you, Michael. I'm so sorry. I didn't see the name. I'm sure I saw it.
Oh, thanks.
I think it was in one of the main galleries. Yeah, I tried as best I could to go in and out of all the galleries, but yeah. So I can. If I follow you later on, we will go back to your room, right? Your gallery.
Absolutely, yeah. No,
Okay.
and if you want, I'd love to meet you in there, and we can show you my work and stuff. And yeah, no, I've checked out all. Yeah, and I've checked out all your work. It's just beautiful.
You're very sweet. That's very kind of you to say that. It's Ralph, who has got the artist residency in Casale Flaminia in Spoleto, is the one who kind of arranged all this. But now it sounds like Michael, you're located in the USA, right?
Yeah, I'm just outside of DC, and it's actually it's actually Jai. Mitchell's my last name. So.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Your first name is John.
Jai, Jai.
John.
Yeah, and I've worked in the LEJ fine art.
Oh my God, that's beautiful. Well, but I have to say, DC is actually DC is a great art scene. It's a great art community. It's pretty amazing. And as far as the artist artist residency that Ralph is doing, and I'm trying to do a companion residency in Abruzzo,
Oh, wow.
Italy. So
Wow.
maybe you guys would like to come check out the residency. Like,
That would be amazing.
Hop the pond and come over here to Italy as well.
That's a deal. Yeah. No, I actually I had 2 shows in Berlin last year, so
Oh my God!
Right. Yeah.
Berlin is a
Yeah.
great city. It's like
Yeah.
such an amazingly fun city.
I loved it there, and yeah, so I'm hoping to
Really?
I'm hoping to get back to Europe this next year, depending on all the COVID stuff. So I'd love to
Yeah, you'll
go down
make
to
it.
Italy. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure. Well, now you know Ralph, who is the curator of this show, and you know me, who
Perfect.
has an artist, who has an artist residency developing a video which is an amazing region of Italy. It's called Wild It's where all the amazing castles and wilderness are. So
Wow.
it's spectacular. Yeah.
That's so cool.
But how did Berlin go for you? That's like huge. It's huge.
Oh, it was amazing. Yeah, I ended up that was my first solo show, and
What?
was in yeah.
Congratulations! That's like that's the top of the game.
I know it was crazy,
Like
and
Berlin is the top of the game.
yeah, and I did one solo show, and then I did a second show in another gallery in Berlin in September, but I wasn't able to be there. But
That's
through that
fantastic.
and through that show, the newspaper, their Tagesspiegel, Nicola Kuhn, the art critic, wrote an article about me and the exhibit.
No
So things
shit.
are just I know exactly. That's the perfect way to express it, because it's just like the whole dream is going on. So
That's like a TV story.
oh, it's crazy. I know.
Yeah,
Yeah, and how did you end up getting your residency there?
Do you mean well, I'm an Italian citizen.
Oh, cool.
It's so not crazy. So I'm like an Italian citizen, and it was even though I grew up in New York, state and whatnot, my ancestors are Italian, so I moved here because it's funny because you're shy, you're talking about that it went really well for you in Berlin, and I think now at this point in history, it seems like Europe is a little bit more open.
Yes.
There's opportunities like a little bit more open here than
Sorry to
as you
interrupt.
anticipate your success.
Hey, sorry to interrupt, but we're gonna get things started. So, Corinne, if you want to join us,
Oh yeah.
and then we can.
I'm sorry, I'm very clumsy.
That's okay. We've all been there.
Sorry about that, you guys.
I can't. Yeah. So, Karen, if you want to come a little bit closer, we can all.
Oh, did I like back into a wall or something? I'm really sorry.
That's a maniac.
Sorry, you guys.
You're doing really good.
Thank
Then,
you. You're
yeah,
very
here,
kind.
if you come a little bit closer here, try pressing forward just a little bit more. Perfect. And then just use your pointer, like just your mouse, and move your mouse to the right of the screen, and you'll start turning your mouse. Or the trackpad. Yeah. So try rotating all the way around. There you go. You're getting it perfect.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm like being a nerd. Thank you.
Rule the world.
Thanks for your help.
No problem. Okay. Just on a. So we're pretty well all situated here. Ralph, if you want to come in and join us here too. And and then for anybody in the audience, if you do notice that there's an echo or something like that going on, if you could please mute your microphone. That you just press the A button on your Oculus controller or the space bar on your laptop, and then you click mute myself. And if there is any new people that come into the gallery and they don't know to do that, if you can just whisper those instructions to them, so we don't get too much echo or anything, that'd be really appreciated. And looks like we have everyone together now, so we can kick things off. Ralph, I guess you're the host of this panel here, so maybe you can introduce the panel, and we can introduce ourselves as panelists for the group and for the live stream audience to hear, and we can go wherever the conversation takes us.
Okay, so great. So thank you very much for joining us. So my name is Ralph Oberbeck. I'm representing the smart curators. So we started off with curating residencies, and then during the pandemic, we then took it into our first edition of the festival, and now we're looking at the exhibition space here, and it's initially this has been like a survival tool for us, but it's amazing to see, and I really want to acknowledge Artgate, Brandon, Justin, and his team for creating this wonderful space. So let me introduce the panelists, and what I'll do is I'll be reading their bios. So I would like to introduce Vitor Pereira. He is a journalist and communication expert, creative and visionary strategist, and deep thinker, and miracle aligner. He's an international speaker and contributor, chair and coordinator of numerous events around the world, working with cities, universities, and private corporations to develop roadmaps and strategies for smart cities, smart regions, and smart tourism. Award of the Prize of Personality of the Year Smart Cities in 2015. And the winner of the People's Choice Award, which was the first edition in 2018, an initiative on smart future. So thank you, Victor, for joining our panel. Also, I would like to, it gives me great pleasure to introduce Karin F. Justi. Karin F. Justi currently lives and works in upstate New York, probably Italy. In fact, probably Italy is the stone throw away from Justi holds a Master of Fines Arts degree from Yale University School of Art and a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree from the University of Massachusetts at Amherst. For the past 20 years, she has been a professor at City University of New York at Brooklyn College. Justi has exhibited her artwork both nationally and internationally in museums, galleries, and public spaces. She has also lectured on the subject of site-specific sculpture, widely including at the Smithsonian Institute in Washington, D.C. Her awards and honors include Guggenheim Fellowship in Sculpture, installation from the John Persimmon Guggenheim Memorial Foundation, and many more. So you can always check out and introduce this bio here in the exhibition. And last but not least, not that Brandon needs any introduction, I would like to introduce Brandon Mcnaughton. Brandon Mcnaughton is a multidisciplinary contemporary artist and the co-founder of Artgate, as we all know. He received a BFA with honors from York University and is an advisor to the Dean of York's School of the Arts, Media, Performance and Design. Mcnaughton began exhibiting his work in 2010. Since then, his sculptures have been presented in major exhibitions at Berlin, and also the Palazzo Loredano in Venice, Italy, and of course in virtual reality. Mcnaughton explores how technology technology is transforming social and economic structures across the globe. To create his large-scale marble, bronze, and aluminium works, he uses furniture technologies such as 3D printers, carving robots, virtual reality, and artificial intelligence. And when we need to speak about AI, it's one of my pet projects. So bridging the gap between art, science, and technology in daring, innovative ways, Mcnaughton is one of the up-and-coming transnational and transdisciplinary exemplars of the third millennium. He capitalizes on the value of the artistic heritage from the ancient Greeks to the masters of the 20th and 21st centuries, while constantly experimenting in the latest mediums to express his own artistic vision. And this is a quote from Dr. Francesca, who some of you are very familiar with. Thank you. So thank you for the panelists. And so what I would like to do is to kick off the session by us walking across to the installation work of Karinev Acoustics. Karin, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
Yes. Okay. Great.
Right
Okay.
here. Can you hear me?
So what we're looking at is the metaverse and the synergy with cities. And what a great way to kick the session off, looking at the installation of Dreamweaver, weaving into a third space into existence. And the longer term vision here is also weaving together the cities of the world. So, Karin, tell us about Dreamweaver.
Yes, actually, this is a symbolic gesture piece. It was weaving together fabric patterns from around the world, from every country, that were intrinsically connected and inspired by each other throughout history. And actually, it just actually is a goes to show, that these patterns from every region of the world are connected in a way that this pandemic has shown us we can no longer be unaffected, by the troubles of others, that we are all inextricably connected to each other. And so that the combination of patterns woven together, although unique, are actually making a one very strong fabric of connectedness. And it reminds me of smart cities, smart travel, and the metaverse in a way that we are really no longer able to be even separate from each other. And that's why I'm so excited about this project that we're working on together here. And I'm so excited about, the way that, Justin O'Hare and Brendan have woven together this space. This collective gallery is a very amazing and unique meeting space for people. And it's so important, urgent, in this day and age that we're able to connect like this, because it's a way that we can really craft a way to co-curate and connect when things are so in just completely in a way that we can really work with things in this day and age of the pandemic. And it's been so difficult, but even Ralph Overbeck's Smart Festival
that connected us last season showed that we can get through this together, and it's really huge. It's really huge what's happening here.
Thank you, Karin. And I think this sort of ties it back into Vito Pereira, because the Smart Festival was really for us initially like a survival, keeping our heads above water because we couldn't run the residencies. And I was invited by Vito to speak at Smart Travel, which is an annual conference, and if you get a chance, check it out and participate next year. So Vito invited me to speak, and this is where we planted the seed for Smart Festivals, co-creating with artists from all over the world in a digital way. And Vito said that we want this to be a successful failure because we don't want to be digital. And my experience was that when we involved the artists, initially it was like, no, we don't want to do Zoom. We're all zoomed out. We don't want to be on the digital platform. And so indeed it was a successful failure. And we're now taking it into the second edition of the festival. And I was looking to enhance the experience of the festival, and also to provide a reach for the artists, give them an amplified audience. So this is how the sort of when you manifest how Brandon showed up in my life, and suddenly I realized that virtual reality is not about technology, it's about a community, a safe space. And again, I must acknowledge Brandon, Justin, and Candice in terms of harnessing and innovating, not just the technology, but also the logistics of providing a safe space, creative space to co-create. And so moving forward, we're really excited. So now Brandon made the connection in terms of Metaverse and cities, smart cities. So I would like to bring in Vito Pereira, because sometimes we might feel that we're in the metaverse so that we can escape from the real world. So Vito, what is your take on the metaverse? Is it like an utopia? Is it a digital utopia, running away from the real world? Victor? Oh, I think we've lost Victor.
Yeah.
Victor, you're there. I can see you moving.
Just double check that you don't have mute myself selected, Victor. So to open up the menu, press the space bar, click on the gear on the right hand side, and then I think we can hear you now. Is that working? I was talking with him earlier.
Let me check, Victor.
He was moving a little bit.
Okay, so maybe
we'll give him a second. We'll give him a second to get situated. Victor, just try the menu, space bar, click on the gear, mute myself, and then if that doesn't work, you can also try going out of our gate and coming back in. And a third option. Oh, okay, he's going out. There was one thing that you were saying there, Ralph, that I would actually love to comment on. And the idea of using this technology and building this technology, and really at the end of the day is we want the technology to not even be noticeable. It really it's all about connecting people and art, and if we can make such an incredible piece of technology that you don't even realize you're in virtual reality, or you don't even realize that you're at a laptop, you're just really seamlessly connecting, looking at artwork, meeting people, like a mirror world to the real world. That's something that we're working towards. So the technology is just a tool that allows you to connect with one another. Yeah, I think we.
Victor is back.
We can hear you.
Victor.
Because I disconnected the headphones and somehow jammed all the system with my audio, so I'm sorry for this.
No problem.
Yeah. And the timing, because we were just talking about the technology aspect, and my question to you, Victor, is that where do you see Metaverse? Is it like a digital utopia escaping from the real world? What is your take on the Metaverse?
Ralph, we will have plenty of time to discuss that. I just want to start saying one thing. I am art lover of any kind. So I am admire any kind of art. If it's physical, digital, or metaverse or whatever, I can be pulled to analyze and enjoy what is the kind of art we are observing. And myself, I started with the 80s. I created my own metaverse. I don't know if you are familiar with the Spectrum, ZX Spectrum from Sinclair. So I was creating basic programming language worlds like adventure games. Basically, it's like we all, at least from my perspective, people that are creative, they can do whatever. They can paint, they can sing, they can write poems, or they can write games, or program any kind of computer programs, or any kind of things. So my first statement is, I consider myself an art lover, an artist admirer. I really admire people that take time to create. And this is something that you cannot just teach the computer to do. Even though we are teaching computers to do it. And we are now here. I need to confess, because I spent, when I was younger, because I'm still young, but when I was younger, 21 years more or less, I took like 2 nights without sleep playing a game that was like a metaverse at that time. You can imagine, 25 years ago. And it was like a metaverse, but I took like 2 nights without sleeping just to get through the end of that game. It was a really, really tricky hacking, and hooked me to the game. And then, since then, I cannot watch any kind of entertainment with the video games. I get sick. It's like I am in a boat and I need to throw up. So for me, this experience, any kind of experience with virtual reality, video games, any kind of experience, like I can barely stand for 10, 15 minutes without getting like a car sick, you know? So it's like, maybe
you're still standing, Victor.
What?
Good to know that you're still standing.
Yeah. It's like a Ghostbusters movie. And everyone is like a ghost, acting like a ghost. I am a fan of enjoy people's vision, to see people, to act with people, to enjoy people, whatever. But that doesn't mean I'm not enjoying to be here, talking with the red, with the purple, with the yellow, with the black, with the blue. You all have names, and some of you I know personally, or
Brandon.
some of you I know from the artworks like Karen, which is amazing, brilliant, and also Rob, which we met personally some years ago, and we had that connection that made. It looks like we are now in a different kind of world that we are living now in this computer. And sometimes we go to the metaverse, which is the real world. And this is something that we must um, try to figure it out. What brings us more pleasure? Who are really hooked to technology right now since early stages, early ages? And then when you have an experience in the real world, it's like a wow moment. And you have climb trees, break a leg, get your head hit to with a bicycle fall or something, with a football game or whatever. Since the metaverse is something that is beyond, the good roots of metaverse is beyond reality. What it means. Now, our reality is more and more and more digital. So probably, if you're thinking about metaverse, see real world. This is the one what brought us to life in the beginning. And I am pro I am pro technology. I use technology. I use technology with a purpose. Technology can be something to just to take explore the talent, explore resources, or take away the way you feel the world. I don't think that we have to reach this dystopia or utopia. I'm not sure what it is, what is the path, but definitely the ones who watch the movies, the ones that are connected to the real world, like the Matrix, that machine, the Matrix movie. Actually, I want to see this four episode of the movie. It's really going to be really astonishing. But when we connect to the digital world, I think we need to bring something from the real world, which is our kindness, our creativeness, our humbleness, our values that make us human beings. So we are human because we love first, and then we hate second, and then we have fights, and then we have worlds to explore. So we are explorers in resume, and I will finish my mention right now. I think the explorer is feeling that's what's bringing everyone to different worlds. And people like to explore the real world. They discover the lost in forest, they go to hiking, they go to the desert, and appreciate things that make people alive. And there are others that get lost in the digital world, and those we cannot criticize. They are having their own way of feeling something. And this we must always try. This is where I want to bring the Brandon work to the highlight with Brandon work, which is if we can offer the lost, because everyone was exploring, somehow they lost somehow. Myself, when I go to cities, I like to be lost. It's like a totally new experience. And then I get someone who brings me light, who brings me a path, who brings me a way out. And these people are the ones that can give us torch to the tunnel. And that's where, for me, someone that is bringing art to the world, to the, some kind of alternative reality, and brings real path. Uh, this is something I like. This is something I will enjoy. So my first best Metaverse is not a metaverse anymore. This is the real universe we are living right now. We don't even notice that it's controlling our lives. All the social media is controlling our lives. The algorithm is controlling our lives since 2009 at least, and it's getting better and better and better. And it is making us hating each other. And that's why if we need a metaverse, I will rather go to a love metaverse, to a kind metaverse, to someone who supports that people don't judge, don't put each other. They just enjoy what each one of us can create. And this, my friends, this is art. And when we have art, creation in the real world or digital world, this is what makes you the powerful anarchist. So this is like what I was saying. What we have in us, if it's good enough, it will be good enough.
And Victor, this is my experience here in the arcade community is that when you say the opposite of love and hate is I think we have to remind ourselves. And Adi Atasi, one of our artists here, actually reminded me that the opposite of love is always fear, and this is what allows us to be divided. And I think what I've noticed, looking back on some of the other panels, like yesterday we had a panel on healing in the metaverse, and where the metaverse becomes a safe space to share your art, and so this is I think a journey where we need to give the metaverse a fair chance, and we need to do this in a safe community and environment. And so Brandon, what has what has given you the? I think you shared earlier with Karin, but can you share it in the group? What was your inspiration to go from an artist? Because I know you have a very social life outside the metaverse. You're socially very active as an artist. So to me that sounds counterintuitive for you to create a safe environment in the metaverse, which some people might perceive as insular and introvert. So would you share some of your thoughts?
I find it really interesting, people's first impression of putting on a VR headset, and that person that does that is they're introverted, or they want to detach from people, or they're in their own world. When I put on the VR headset, I go into a hyper social world. I'm currently in a room with people from the United States, from Italy, from all over the world. We're here talking, connecting with one another, and we are from all over the place. And so rather than, I think first impression, people think that putting on a VR headset is an antisocial thing to do. But once they're actually in there and with all these people that are in the metaverse, you'll actually come to realize it's a hyper social thing to do, depending on the experience that you're in. and when um, when Arcade all started was it was all kind of an evolution on my campus. So I got a lot of hey Karen, do you mind hitting the mute button if you're not talking? It's just we're getting a lot of feedback. No,
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. So as I was as I was getting a lot of international attention as a contemporary artist for making these large-scale bronze, marble, and aluminum sculptures. I was really lucky to be able to exhibit them all over the world. So through North America, Europe, Venice. I was flying all over the place. So it was really great. I kind of made it as an international artist. And I absolutely love the ability to be on a different continent and talking with people from different countries. And one thing you realize is how similar everybody is, no matter where they're from. And that's something that's really nice. But as my art career was moving more internationally, it also became abundantly clear how unsustainable it is to do that, to be shipping a sculpture from one continent to the next, creating insurance, brokerage fees, warehousing, and like to go from Venice over to Miami and then over to Hong Kong. The flights alone, let alone all the like international logistics of moving sculptures and especially large scale things, it's really complex. So that was pretty frustrating to see how inefficient it was, this quote unquote international art world. And then another thing I realized is that that's a privilege that a very small portion of the population ever get to experience. It's like 99.999% of the population will never be able to participate on this international art scene. They just can't make it. It doesn't make sense economically, like time wise, money wise, environmental wise. So I was so excited to be in this international dialogue and the international art scene, and then I realized that it wasn't really like that. So I was kind of frustrated about that, and I was venting to one of my friends, Justin, who's an incredible virtual reality technology developer, and we put one of my sculptures in there. And the idea was, rather than shipping the sculpture to Europe, we could just have people in Europe put on a VR headset and look at the sculpture. So it would save them time, it would save me time, and it just made sense to do that. So we did that with one sculpture, and it was incredible the feedback we got. Everyone was quite excited. I was really excited, so I asked to put in another piece, and we programmed away, and we made it happen, and got another piece in there, and all the artists, galleries, collector friends of mine, they started asking if they could put artwork in. So next thing you know, we have our emails filled with hundreds of artworks that people want to put into virtual reality, and it just started snowballing from there. So it came out just with this realization that if we use technology, we might be able to make the arts a little bit more accessible, right? If you can't afford a flight over to the exhibition, you might be able to, get a headset or a laptop to join the exhibition and see the artwork. And that's really at the core of what we're doing, is just to make the arts more accessible, because it's a very exclusive place. There's VIP events, and there's only certain people get to get tours of certain exhibitions. But if we can use technology in a way that opens up the art world, then I think that it will make for a really interesting world, and a world where people will understand each other a little bit more and sympathize with people a little bit more. When you just hear on the news about stuff going on in Hong Kong, it's like you're really detached from it. You just hear a couple headlines. But when I walk into an art gallery, and one of the collectors that lives in Hong Kong is giving me a personal tour of their collection, and we're talking about the artwork, and we're relating on a one-to-one personal level, like now you start to understand somebody from the other side of the world. You don't necessarily understand them from all the other ways you learn about other parts of the world. So if you can really break down the geographic barriers, and you can allow people to share artwork with one another, share ideas with one another, regardless of what continent or country they're in, I think that it makes for the ability for people to understand and sympathize and connect and relate with one another in a way that it's not really that possible with the current structure of things, with flying and all that. So yeah, my hope is that this technology can allow for a global dialogue, a truly global dialogue, to evolve with people participating from all over the world. And yeah, that's the dream with it. And I think that it has pretty profound implications with the structure of our lives and our cities and the way that we work and our economies. And it's really interesting if you think about a more advanced like art district that develops in the metaverse. Because looking at my personal life, I always had to make a choice between if I was going to see my hometown friends and family, or if I was going to fly to a different country to go to an exhibition. And it was always a trade-off between one or the other. So I'd come back from the flight and I'd be jet-lagged, and I might have missed some birthdays or really important things because I was away, because that was my only way. I always had to make a choice between one or the other. And now I can, go to this panel discussion with friends from all these different continents and countries, take off my headset and then continue to spend some time with family. And I'm not saying that that's the only way that we can do things. I still really look forward to flying to going to the physical world events. Like, I hope to get to see your residency one day. I'm really looking forward to that. But the metaverse has opened these connections and relationships to us in a way that you might not have had access to without. And that's really what I'm hoping with this, is people can connect with each other and understand one another no matter where they may be in the world.
I can that sort of resonates, and I've seen, like, for example, we have one artist here, Adi Atasi. We started off, one of his artwork is Chaos City, which was in honor for the refugees in Syria. And I saw visitors coming into Adi's gallery, studying some of his artworks for 10 minutes. It was amazing. And I said to Adi is based in Cyprus. And for him to be able to reach out to a wider audience, an amplified audience, where I've also learned that art collectors are looking to, leave behind a legacy. And so the legacy is in terms of collecting artworks, right? So it doesn't matter, yes, of course, it's great to go to exhibitions and to go to different cities and discover new artists. But if you can discover them here and then follow up, to meet the artists in the city, or in the case of Adi, on an island in Cyprus, or Rosie McCarran, for example, one of our artists, she has a home here in Belfast. Then, if the connection is made through the metaverse, wonderful. And I think that, there's always this frustration that, we really want to be in a real world, and we want to travel again. And I share Victor's frustration with, championing and smart tourism and smart cities. And how do you reconcile that with a virtual world? And so Victor, Victor?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, okay. So Victor, I would like to bring the focus back onto the cities. What do you think metaverse can potentially mean for cities to become smarter, in terms of the community engagement, engaging artists, and the focus it is to embrace the creativity as well as the technical challenges of running the city.
Oh, okay. Love. So here's the thing. We know that the cities are human invention. Is the most amazing invention we did since civilization. And what I am, what I don't know yet, is that if we can have the same results that we have for cities in the metaverse, I think that's what Facebook is trying to find out, and that's why all this trend things related with the art, related with the NFTs, related with the infrastructure, and but look, I'm going to be very honest. I don't understand. Or at least I may have an idea about someone that gives $500,000 for sneakers, digital sneakers. Well, I think they're crazy. They are not. They are not. Look, they when someone buys sneakers in the metaverse for $500,000, and it's like they are. Yeah,
I'm wearing them right now.
Well, we need shoes. We need shoes.
You know? The work is a business because they can sell it out for double the price and sell it out as a collectible thing. But I think this is too artificial right now. What we know is from the cities, what we know is that the cities have potential growth, and they have the tool to grow in any kind of social, environmental, cultural creativeness. So they have a algorithm that is a physical algorithm that makes the city thrive and makes everyone connected with the city to become part of the city as a whole, or at least work for it. In the metaverse, it can be a virtual city. Let's see how it works, because I'm not sure. I'm not going to be. I'm going to confess this right now. I'm not going to spend a lot of time in the digital world. Here, because I understand what it is at stake. I can be part of the connection between the physical and the digital. I understand Brandon's vision about bringing art to people that cannot access it. But actually, don't access it. That's what makes art valuable. That's inaccessibility. That's what makes art so exclusive. And then that's what makes value for artists. I don't think that massification of art or a piece of art is something that we are going to bring, at least for the living artists, and the recognition that we expect. We have all kinds of artists in the world. All kinds. We have artists that are looking for fame and profit. We have artists that are totally depressed and they want to kill themselves. We have this kind of extreme 8 or 80 vision of art. And what we know is that the ones who are popular normally they will have someone doing the art for themselves. They probably have some helpers or some kind of refreshment that can do some draws. Then, because they already have the name, they can put in any kind of architecture, art, installation, or whatever, and they can put it in their name. and they're going to use it. People don't have any boundaries. People want fame, they don't have any boundaries. People do whatever. So I am on your question.
Yes.
My answer is definitely. I wish we can think. I'm not going to say that digital version of a city is going to be as smart as a real person, but definitely the difference make uh, they complete the person. So what can happen in the virtual city that cannot happen in the real city? So these things that happen in the real city will become attractive for the people living in the virtual world because they want to experience something they don't experience in the virtual world. And it's exactly what we are experiencing now in the real world, and then going to the digital world or the virtual world, and we experiment something that we can only experiment. I'm not sure if I'm getting to the point, but imagine if we are living. Imagine if all the population of the city somehow is connected to the virtual world by an index, like okay, let's speak to you. And now you have the feelings of a virtual reality. I'm not sure if the technology is ready now to experiment death, to experiment rape, to experiment a lot of things bad things that happen in the real world. And I'm not sure if the virtual world can give you this experience. And if the virtual world doesn't give you this experience, you are not 100% fulfilled. Because if it's for the bad, it's also for the good. If you cannot experience bad things in the virtual world, you cannot also experience good things. So that's why I am envisioning that this is like something that is complementary, but definitely people will always choose where is the adrenaline, what makes me feel alive. And of course, there will be people that are thrilled with the games, thrilled with the virtual, with the, like exiting from the depressive world, the real world, of course, and go into a metaverse. And here I'm happy, but they won't be happy. And yet, they will try to experience something else. And that's when they will come back. And this return, I'm already thinking ahead of the metaverse. Ahead of the metaverse, we will have refugees from the metaverse, which is people that are not ready to leave the real world, neither cannot live in the virtual world. So these people will have to have some help to get their lives back somehow. I don't see smart people in the virtual world because any kind of virtual is not smart. I see is interaction is speaking with people, and if we have this interaction, even though we don't see each other faces, we don't drink together, we don't have parties, we are not connected physically, but I have a spirit. I feel that you somehow have something there, have an experience in your life. And that's why people, what you are sharing now with me, it's your experience. And this is how what makes me wild. Everything that care until now is nothing that I was born in the virtual world. I created something that all the real people can join us, and and have fun with us, but I am totally virtual. So if one of you can say this, I will be astonished.
I'm an AI.
Well, and I think you make a very good point here, and this is why it is so important for us not to feel like we're in the metaverse of, say, Zuckerberg or Facebook. What I'm seeing is that it does require a community approach. It does require leadership in terms of harnessing and also making use of innovation to connect. Connectivity, and I think we're all here raving to travel and to I've heard so many times, which I'm delighted for people wanting to come to Italy and to experience the residencies, and but the connections are made here. So and the creativity continues. There's the magic needs to continue, so that we can then enhance it and in the real world, and maybe the metaverse will help us to make the real world a better world.
I'd like to maybe touch on the idea a little bit as well. With there's sort of two concepts. So one is the idea of the metaverse, which I'll touch on afterwards. But the first one is that if you kind of look at if there's drawing, there's painting, there's photography, there's digital artwork. If you look at all the different ways that you can make artwork, when photography came around, it's not like it became the only way that people made artwork. When travel, like when the railroads came along, that opened up new ways of people connecting and socializing. When air travel came along, that opened up new ways of people traveling between continents and connecting with one another. When the internet came along, there was new ways that people could share information and communicate with one another. And when the metaverse comes along, here's now yet again another way that people can travel and connect and relate with one another. So we still have our individual families and like close geographic circles. We still have the ability to travel in all these different ways and connect with one another in all these different ways, and we still do. I don't think that the metaverse is going to be something that replaces all the all the real world stuff. I jump into the metaverse for a while. I connect with some of my international friends in my headset or my laptop. I come out. I spend some time with my with my partner and with some friends. So I just kind of it's just one more additional way that I can connect with people. So I do think that there will be some people that go down the rabbit hole and they leave their meat body behind, so to speak. You already see this with World of Warcraft and certain kids that get addicted to games, and I think that will be an issue with some people, but I think that the majority of people they'll jump in here and there, do some stuff, jump out, continue on, go on a hike later that day, have a dinner with their family afterwards, jump into the metaverse, talk about art, jump out, and it's just one additional way of connecting and socializing with people. And then on the metaverse side of it, the way that I like to think of the metaverse, because I see it getting thrown around in a lot of different ways, like the way that people are talking about the Facebook metaverse and um, the alt space metaverse and all these things. The way that I look at the metaverse is it's like the internet. The internet is the internet, and then there's subsections of the internet, all these different websites that you can go on to see really happy stuff, to see really brutal stuff, to get access to all these different types of information. There's educational websites, there's entertainment websites, there's shopping websites, there's all these different things, right? So the metaverse I look at is one metaverse. It's a single thing. You can think of it like an umbrella, and then under that umbrella, there's different districts. So Artgate is a district for connecting with art and people. So an art district, the same thing as the real world. There's an art district, a Soho art district, a Chelsea art district. You can go to Venice to, that's another district with specific art that's there. You can go to the 798 art district in Beijing. So there's certain people and artwork that's there. So Artgate is a district for art. So it's one subsection of the metaverse. And then if you want to go more for conferences, you might go into Altspace VR. If you are younger and you want to play games, you might go into Rec Room. If you want to, mess around with your friends, you might go into VR chat. So there's the metaverse, like the umbrella, the big high-level idea, kind of like the internet, and then there's subsections of the metaverse, which are districts. So Facebook, they're pushing for their. Karen, can you please mute?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Gotcha.
So Facebook, they're pushing for their metaverse, but whatever they do make, I would look at it like that's if you want to go into the Facebook district of the metaverse, go in there, and then there's Microsoft, they're doing stuff. Apple, they're working on hardware, and I'm sure they're going to have a lot of different experiences that you can have too. There's Sony, Ubisoft, Epic Games. There's a lot of development that's going on of these experiences that that we're in. So I look at them as there's the metaverse that is this uniform thing. It's not going to be one individual group that owns it, and then there's going to be subsections of it that all these people are participating, building, whether it's more of a grassroots things like what we're doing here, or if it's a big multi-billion-dollar company like Facebook dumping trillions of dollars or trillions into it. That's what they're doing. But as an individual, I have a choice to walk into the Artgate district, go into the Facebook district, go into the Altspace VR district. So that's kind of the way that I like to, at least in my mind, that it makes sense, because I see there's a lot of different interpretations of the metaverse. I look at it as the metaverse is a singular thing, and then everyone is participating and building up their own districts. And it really does mirror the physical world to a degree, right? You have one Earth that's shared by everybody, and then you have certain groups that develop parts of it and build certain cities and certain places and experiences for you to enjoy or experience in the real world. So it's just kind of this next chapter of development. It's really exciting. It's really interesting, but it is also a huge responsibility at this moment too, because the foundation that's being laid, there's potentially millions or billions of people that are going to be coming through these experiences in the future. So if Facebook ends up kind of taking it all over, then all these people are going to be experiencing this district or experience that Facebook has created. I think there's space for other people to develop and participate and build out these districts. And if you all haven't seen Ready Player One, the movie, or read the book, they talk about this in that piece of sci-fi literature. They have the Oasis that's owned by this big corporation, and then there's all the people in it that end up rising up against the Oasis because it was this consolidated central power that was running the metaverse. And so it's really interesting, that piece of literature, how much it's kind of touching on the real world, or like things that are happening today. And in the end of the book, the people ended up getting control of the metaverse. So if there is too much centralization, maybe it will be like the final pages of Ready Player One, how it all shakes down. So yeah, that's my ramblings about things.
Yeah, it's you're all lost.
So Brandon, so I think this is a good way to conclude the session, because what you touched on is that unless we have grassroots initiatives like Arcade, then my experience, even Victor touched on potential refugees, trapped between the metaverse and the real world. Having worked with NGOs, but when you take a top-down big um, approach, what happens is when funding runs out, it just stops. Or in the case of Facebook, Apple, um, where they control it through money rather than grassroots. From my experiences, when you have a grassroots approach, it becomes more sustainable. It becomes real. And I think there is a responsibility to take the grassroots approach so that we can steer through this with a lot of the issues which Victor, I think, has highlighted and shared here in terms of his perspective coming from the smart cities district. So, guys, thank you very much for joining the panel of this discussions. I think we're running out of time. Otherwise, I would sort of invite some of you guys maybe to ask a few questions. I don't know how are we doing in terms of timing?
We're over by 7 minutes.
Okay. So great. So
But
if
we can
I mean,
break
if any questions you can put into somewhere, I guess, in the comments in social media.
I'm happy to hang for a little bit.
So thank you very much, Brendan, Vitor, Carrara, Karin F. Justi, and all you wonderful people joining our panel discussion. Have a wonderful day or evening, depending on which time zone you are.
Thank you. We should do another one.
Okay. Are we taking a group photo?
Yeah, we could. I think we lost a few people.
We lost. Okay, good. I think yeah. I think good. Okay, Brendan. So thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to meeting all your other red, green, yellow, beautiful people in the sky.
And
okay.
And Ralph, oh, are you still there? Yeah. So,
no,
I just wanted to touch. I'm Jai. I'm an artist, and I have art and LAJ fine art. And I just wanted to touch on a couple of things that Peter was saying. I think that Arcade is an incredible place for people to connect. I mean, as you were at our panel last night, that I've been able to create art out of my own experiences, and other people have been there, and through the talks and through seeing it, they've connected with me, and even other artists, like Chase Chandler, the composer, was able to do some music based on it, and I understand that art is better in a physical space, but I think it's really been incredible for me in terms of connecting, and I've had people just contact me and say, hey, I saw your art and Artgate, and then we open up these incredible conversations about their experiences and my experiences. And I mean, I think it's an amazing venue for it. So.
Thank you for sharing that, and it's very encouraging for the smart community here in which I'm representing in our gallery. So thank you for sharing that, Jane. Great. Okay. Good. So again, thank you. And if anyone would like to have a tour through our rooms or in meeting the artists, just drop us a note, and we look forward to it.
Thank you for hosting us.
Thanks, Ralph.
Okay. Thanks for making it happen, friends. So please extend my gratitude to you, Justin, and is it Tabine who's looking after marketing? Candice, that's it. Candice, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm there because I know she's working behind the scenes, which is quite incredible in terms of the promotions. Thank you so much, Brendan. Okay. Ciao, ciao.
Bye.